Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. Another paid request, this time for Adam. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, or reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, which is a 1993 film released by Disney. And I've seen this film before, but man, it's been so long I didn't remember much about it other than I remember the voice cast and who was in it. It is a live action film, and it's a remake. I didn't realize this was a remake to an older film. But here we have two dogs, one voiced by Michael J. Fox, the other voiced by Don Amici. Of course, Michael J. Fox from Back to the Future trilogy, The Frighteners, Teen Wolf. And then Don Amici, who's the older dog, he won the Oscar for Cocoon. He was in Harry and the Hendersons. He's been in a few other movies as well. Sadly, by the time the sequel came out, he had passed away. Because there was a sequel to this. Because this film was a surprise hit. The sequel, I believe, they were lost in the city in San Francisco or somewhere. But in this, you have those two dogs and you have a cat voiced by Sally Field. Now, of course, Sally Field, she would be Aunt May in the Amazing Spider-Man film. She worked with Burt Reynolds quite a bit back in the day, and Smokey the Bandit and Hooper, among other movies. Pretty much about this family. You have three kids and a lady. The new boyfriend, or whatever, is Robert Hayes. Which I forgot he was in this. I'm like, oh, it's Robert Hayes from Airplane, Airplane 2. He did the Ledge segment in the Stephen King anthology Cat's Eye. And I like Robert Hayes. He's in a very fun Peter Weller film called 50-50 that I wish had a Blu-ray. Anyway, he's got this job. He takes the family, but will be away for about 2 weeks or so. So they're going to stay with this other lady who's a friend. I forget the actress's name, but I recognize her. I want to say she was one of the actresses from Designing Women, the TV show Designing Women. I forget her name, though. I do like her as an actress. But anyway, while she's taking care of them, she needs to go somewhere. But then she writes a note, the note gets screwed up, and the animals think they've been abandoned. And so the three of them join together, and they're going to journey through the landscape of the forest. Because it's supposed to take place in California, but they're going through the forest in order to get their journey home, as the title suggests. Michael J. Fox, his dog is an American Bulldog. Don Amici's dog is a Golden Retriever, and Sally Field's cat is a Himalayan cat. First and foremost, kudos to the animal trainers. This is all done for real. This is all real animals being used. And to get the animals to do what need to be done, it's very difficult. Also, kudos to the editing. There's a lot of moments that seem like the animals were in trouble, but because of editing, they were able to make it safe. Like there's a bit where they're crossing railroad tracks, and it seems like one train gets very close to one of the animals, but via editing they're able to make it safe for the animal. Same with, they make it seem like a cat is going down a river, but then when you read up details, well, they actually did this and this, and again, a lot of it's done with editing. Because this is 93. I mean, yeah, there was CG, like bits in Jurassic Park, but was not as prevalent as it would years later. And of the three, you have Michael J. Fox's character, who was an abandoned dog, so he gets paranoid of being abandoned again, and hard for him to trust anybody. Don Amici's Golden Retriever is very loyal and wants to go back because his owner, the older boy, he cares deeply for. And the cat has this sassy attitude, you know, cats rule and dogs drool, all that stuff. Which Michael J. Fox then says, did a life. Actually did 9 of them. Now, it was entertaining enough to watch, to witness how they're able to utilize these animals in these situations, whether it be them dealing with cubs and then a bear, or them dealing with a mountain lion, or dealing with a waterfall, or Michael J. Fox's dog getting close to a porcupine, and you have quills. And you actually had some decent makeup. And when you look up trivia, because I think they had done a Q&A screening for the anniversary of this movie. Because this movie's actually, now that I think about it, that was 93, it's 2023, so it's 30 years old? Jesus. Yeah, 93, 03, 13, 20, damn, 30 years old. So I think there was a Q&A screening where they answered these type of questions. It was interesting, like, oh, well, we put makeup here, and we put cat food, so the cat goes up and licks it. In the movie, it's Sally Field's character licking the wounds on Michael J. Fox's character, and or they also get these porcupine things bit, but really they put cat food, and they put... It was interesting technically how they did it. How you're able to utilize this safely, unlike Milo and Otis, where you look up the stories of that film, you hear that a lot of fucking kittens and puppies were killed during that movie, The Adventures of Milo and Otis. Just look up those stories. But with the Humane Society, you have to be more careful, thankfully so. And number two, again, how to use editing and other attributes. Like later on, there's a bit where Don Amiche's golden retriever is walking and then crashes through. As like, well, he dropped like a few inches, but then we cut away, and then we have like a fake dog, and like I said, kudos to the editing team for that. And it's interesting to see how they utilize those aspects. Now, I will say two things I wasn't really a fan of. Number one, it's nice to hear Michael J. Fox and Don Amiche's voices and such, but I don't know if I care for the animals talking. Now, they don't have the animals talk and move their lips like Dr. Dolittle, which I'm fine with. Eddie Murphy's Dr. Dolittle, I mean, since there's been a few of them. Like Cats and Dogs and other movies have done that, where you see the animals' lips move. They don't do that, which is fine, because that'd be a bit distracting, especially with the how limited they would be back in the day. But part of me wonder if you needed them to talk at all. Because from what I understand, the original movie, they did not talk at all. It's literally their body language and the animal trainers. And I think you had like a narrator, which I don't know if you needed a narrator either, but... I mean, it's a catch-22. On the one hand, it's like, I do like the three actors, Michael, Sally, Don Amiche. So it was nice to hear them, but at the same time, I'm like, I wonder if maybe this would be a little bit more interesting if you didn't have these animals talk. I think that gets into the second bit where they can't understand humans, right? They can't understand humans. Like humans talk, they don't know what they're saying. I wish I knew what you were saying. I wish I knew what you were telling me. They can't, even though their voices are in English, they don't understand the humans. But then they make these references, like when they're staying at the family's friend before they think they're abandoned. The dog, Michael J. Fox is chasing some chickens, and there's a turkey. And Michael J. Fox calls it Birdzilla. I'm never going to eat a McNugget again. I'm like, well, how does he know what a McNugget is? You know, McDonald's chicken McNuggets. How does he know what that is? Or a mountain lion. They see a mountain lion, and when Michael J. Fox sees that mountain lion, he goes, "It's Arnold Schwarzenegger." And when they're able to get it on this seesaw thing where they let it fly off into the river, I think he even says "Hasta la vista, baby." And it's like, well, how the hell does a dog know that if... I know, you're not supposed to take it seriously. It's a Disney movie. I know. But it's just like... they're pretty obvious puns that just, I don't know. Like I said, I can't really say I'm the biggest fan of. Same with there's a bit later on where they think they're at the pound, but they're not. They're ready to be rescued. And I'm like, oh man, because they're idiots. Well, because they don't understand, the movie could be over now, but because Michael J. Fox's character jumps the gun, the other two believe it and they escape, and it's with the Mission Possible theme playing while they escape. And it's one of those things where I thought it's obviously done because it's popular and people recognize it, and like I said, it kind of I don't know how to word it. It's not as heartfelt as it could have been with other aspects, and those like noticeable pop culture jabs is just I don't know. Just watch it nowadays. There are plenty of films I love that have done that, but it just comes off as forced in this. I don't know how to put it. And then it's one of those things that, if you're wondering, there's people doing stuff outside. You wonder what that noise is, which is fine because we just had a storm. Of course, a big heavy storm, so people out there like clearing stuff out. And as long as the power's on, I don't care. But as long as I'm not doing it while I'm trying to sleep, then I don't care. I think what it is just I didn't find it that funny. Maybe that's what it is at the end of the day. I just didn't find it that funny. You know, it's attempts at humor because of those Mission Possible theme reference or Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. I mean, hell, I thought it was more clever in Ninja Turtles 2: See Through the Ooze. Like, it's easy. Well, is Schwarzenegger hard to spell? And he just goes off, Mikey goes off, and Donnie's like, what? Like, that I found much more funny and clever compared to this stuff. And I was saying, like, the heart-filled manner that should be showcased sometimes isn't fully showcased as it should. For example, when Sally Field, the cat goes over the waterfall, it feels like the dogs should have felt a bit more sad, a bit more upset, a bit more. They seem to get over it very quickly. Like right when she comes back and, they embrace as much as they can, and I guess they put like cat food on the dog, so the cat went up and started licking the dog. Like, I thought that was a nice choice that they did. So it showcased a little bit there. But yeah, it's one of those things where I guess I don't know where I'm going with. Sorry about that. Getting distracted by stuff as well. So again, sorry about that. Nice looking landscape that is used for the forest sequences. Again, it's refreshing when you watch this film just how much is done for real in camera. Like, they use a real mountain lion, they use real bear cubs and a real bear, a real rabbit. And so, oh, I hate fast food. When you're using real animals, you compare it to today, that would just all be done digital and CGI. It is refreshing to go back and see a film that's had to do it all for real in camera. Yeah, pretty much. At one point they save a little girl, and they get help for the little girl, and the pets are rescued. But then again, because Michael J. Fox is paranoid, because he was abandoned before, was in a pound before. They think they're at a pound. They escape again. They're able to get home, which is interesting. Where they've never. I wouldn't even know how the hell they would know how to get home. Now that I think about it, that's the thing. It's like they don't know what humans say. They don't know what humans talk. They don't know what humans converse like. But then at the same time, they know again Terminator 2 and other stuff. Same with no other animals talk. Like they're the only ones that can talk to each other. Like the dogs can talk to the cat and understand each other, and vice versa. But the porcupine doesn't talk. The mountain lion doesn't talk. The bear doesn't talk. No other animals talk. Which again I found kind of weird in this universe. Is like, okay, so only dogs and cats can talk, but nobody else can talk? Why is that the case? I mean, dogs and cats are different species, so it's not like, well, it's just this one. It's just weird, like, those are given voices, but none of the other animals are given voices. This is a bit weird. But, I mean, overall, did I mind the film? No, I didn't mind the film. Like I say, it was cute at times. The animal handlers did a great job utilizing these animals in a safe fashion. I think a lot of it is fairly well done in terms of editing. The hide, in order to make it safer for the animals. I think a lot of younger people will find it cute. But the fact you're utilizing real animals, you do get a little bit of sense of danger that you don't want these animals to get hurt. The humor I might not have found as funny, and the themes may seem, I mean the pop culture references may seem a bit dated. This was '93. The humans, I mean, they're fine enough. I guess I'm kind of glad they didn't just thrust in a human villain. Because it would seem like it would be typical. Like somehow, some way, there'd be some human villain they thrust in there that would either hunt them down for whatever reason. It just seemed like that'd be the typical thing to do, so I'm glad they didn't do that. But, like, I mean, the family, they're there. I mean, they miss their pets. And the kid's mad at Robert Hayes going, if it wasn't for you, we would not have left him behind. But then Robert Hayes gets these missing posters for the animals, and the kid appreciates that. Not that it really matters, because they do get found, but then they leave anyway, so all that stuff was kind of useless and pointless anyway. It didn't lead to anywhere, because the animals just fucking escaped anyway and got home on their own anyway. So it did fucking matter, but oh well. They tried. Robert Hayes at least tried. I just what I'm saying is there's nothing really to talk about. Like Robert Hayes, I liked him as an actor. He's really given nothing to do. I've seen him do well in comedy and 50-50 and airplane sequels, and he's like given nothing to do. Anybody could play this role. So I do think he's been underutilized. But I mean, the animals are the stars of it, of course. And like I said, great looking animals, as in the breeds that they use, the way the trainers worked with them, the showcase, and thankfully they didn't thrust in any herky-jerky animations or such to screw up the illusion. I would say that if you have any kind of nostalgia fondness, or you want to see how they utilize animals back in the day before going to watch with CGI, it's definitely worth the look in this. Again, maybe it would have been more interesting to have them not have voices, or if you don't have them voices, maybe cut down on the pop culture references and the Mission Impossible themes and the Schwarzenegger puns, or maybe have the other animals be able to talk as well. Again, it's weird, you have some do, but some can't. It's just a little nitpick, not like a big deal, just something I noticed. But overall, yeah, I didn't mind it. Like I said, it was nice to hear Michael J. Fox. I do miss the guy. I mean, he had to retire because of his affliction, which is such a big shame. Because I always thought he was very talented. Don Amici, probably one of the last things he did before he passed away. And he was a good older actor. I like Sally Field. So it was nice to hear their voices despite my flip-floppy issues with it. overall, I think this would be a film worth a look if you have kids and these type of films interest you. Back to the day when Disney films were not thrust with messages and woke and all this other bullshit. But, go figure. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.